Dear student, today we are going to discuss one of the important topics of sociology of economics, and that topic is hunting and gathering economic system. Whenever we talk about the economic system and we classify the economic system, four major classes are there. One is hunting and food gathering stage, second is pastoral stage, third is agricultural stage, and fourth is industrial stage. These are the four classes of the development of economic system. Today we are going to discuss only one classification, one type of economic system, and that is hunting and food collecting economic system. In this discussion, first we discuss about the meaning and definition of economic system, then classification of economic development, then economy of hunting and food gathering stage, then characteristics of hunting gathering society, and what is the present position of this economic system. Whenever we talk about the economic organization, economic system, economic level, economic organizations are found in all types of society, because with the help of this economic system we want to fulfill our three basic needs: food, cloth and shelters. Although there are differences in the institution, from society to society, from environment to environment, from culture to culture, various values and methods of production, consumption and distribution in each society. This is three division of economy, that is first production, then consumption and then distribution. By studying the economic organizations of primitive people, sociologists and anthropologists find out economic history, economic practices and universal economic elements. Raymond Firth, a well-known anthropologist, believes that economic organization is also a type of social action through which we get something for our livelihood. We cannot see economic activity in isolation from other activities of human life. Production, exchange, consumption and property are all closely related to social organization. With the difference in the social system, there is a difference in the economic system. Human beings three main needs: first is food, second is cloth and third is shelter. The need of food is basic in these, for which he adapts to his geographical environment and builds the material elements of the culture accordingly. What type of culture they have? This culture is developed according to the environment. As Hershkovitz said that culture is man-made part of the environment. What type of environment we have? On the basis of the environment we develop our culture. Culture and geographical environment are also closely related. The economic, religious and political life of man is greatly influenced by the environment. Direct impact of environment on our political, our religious, our economic or our social life. He has adopted to nature with the help of his culture. It was on the basis of culture that he exploited the natural resources which gave rise to the economic organization. Due to this, they want to fulfill their basic need: food, cloth and shelter. In this way, the economy is the result of the interaction of culture and environment. Culture is directly associated with the environment and environment is directly related with culture. The economic organization of primitive societies is different from that of the modern society. Most of their economic efforts are devoted to food production, which is highly dependent on the geographical environment. For this, they have to work hard and struggle with nature. Yet they lack certainty and security. Economic efforts are rarely made there in individual form. Mostly efforts for production are made on family and collective basis. present economy is the development form of primitive economy. On this basis, Herskovits even started a new branch of sociology and anthropology. This is known as sociology of economy or economic anthropology. When we talk about the hunting and food collecting stage, so what does it mean? Meaning and definition of hunting and food collecting. In order to maintain physical existence, man tries to gather some of his three basic needs, which Karl Marx calls the essential material values of life. These are the basic needs: food, clothing and shelters. Without getting these, it will be difficult for man to survive, and his social life will also be in danger. The efforts made by him during the fulfillment of these needs give rise to the economy. He produces and also consumes the goods produced, but the work of production is not always done by a single person, but it also requires the cooperation of other people. That is, collectivity is there, and that is known as the primitive consumism. The value of the product or labor has to be distributed among the participants in the production. All goods are also not produced by one or a few persons. Therefore, he gives the goods produced by him to other people and takes another things in return. That is, exchange system is there in aboriginals or in the tribal society. Then the exchange start, and this exchange is known as the barter system in tribal society. In this way, production, consumption, exchange and distribution together make the economic life of man functional and give birth to an economy. This is only the cause of development of economic system. Piddington, while defining the economy, writes that economic system designed to satisfy the material wants of the people is to organize production, to control distribution and to determine the rights and claims of ownership within the community. Similarly, according to Beals and Heuser, the economic organization is the pattern of behaving result organization of society relative to the production, distribution and consumption of goods and services. In the words of Mazumdar and Madan, the economy is the regulation and organization of human relations and efforts to meet the maximum needs of day-to-day life with the least efforts. It is clear from the analysis of the above definitions that human beings have to fulfill their various needs in order to survive. For this, he has to make some efforts. He uses many means during his efforts. What will be these resources? It is determined by the both nature, that is environment, and culture. Australian tribes and Indians in California subsist on hunting and wild fruits and flowers. They have no knowledge of animal husbandry or agriculture. The Bedouin Arabs of West Sudan practice animal husbandry. Thus, the environment has determined the economy, but on the other hand, culture also influences the economic organization. The Bushmen and Hottentot of South Africa, living in the same geographical environment, have different economies. In India, the Todas, that is a tribe of Nilgiri, who live in the Nilgiri hills, rear buffaloes, while the Kotas make a living by making bamboos and cane articles. Environment is same, but the culture is different and the economic system is different. In this way, we can say that man exploits the environment to fulfill his many needs, and he gets the means of exploitation from his own culture. In this way, the interaction of environment and culture give rise to economic organization. In the present time, humans have made unique scientific progress and closed the limits of the geographical environment. Today, many economies and businesses are flourishing together in the same environment, but there is no doubt that the primitive economy has a close relationship with nature today, because now today we are living in the scientific stage and the economy is industrial economy. The economy of primitive people is different from the economy of modern man. This is the base of fulfillment of the basic need, that is food, cloth and shelter. When we classify the economic system, 4 major classes are there. Now we discuss classification of economic development. Different anthropologists have classified primitive economy, that is tribal economy, in different ways. On the basis of all these or those classifications, Adam Smith has considered hunters, herders and farmers are 3 levels. List added to this a broad 4th economy, handicrafts and industry. Aline Hildebrand offers a variety of assortments. They refers to an economy based on exchange, money and credit. Christian von Ehrenfeld divided the economy of Southeast Asia into 4 parts: food gathering, advanced hunter-gatherers, farmers and nomadic pastorals. We can mainly classify this economic system into 4 major categories, and these are the economy of hunting and food gathering level, economy of animal husbandry level, agricultural level economy, and 4th is industrial level economy. Here we will discuss in detail the economy of hunting and food gathering level. The tribes who lead this type of life do not produce for sustenance, but only collect. Mainly those people who live by the roots, fruits, flowers, honey etc. produced in the forest are the ones with aggregation economy, and at the same time those who live by fishing and hunting, we cannot call them productive either. Man makes special effort to get food, and as a result of efforts food increases. For example, by making efforts in animal husbandry, agriculture or industries, then such level is called economy of production level. But this type of hunting and food gathering level is not productive stage. We cannot put any prehistoric culture of the world in only one category. Multiple levels have existed together in them. At the primary level of hunting and gathering, man was able to collect only as much as he could meet his needs. He did not have saving that he could exchange. After consumption at the secondary stage, there may be some left over for exchange, and exchange is known as the barter system of tribal society. Tribes with this type of economy are the Kadars and Chechu. Kadar is a tribal community and Chechu is a tribal community of South India. The Vedas of Lanka, most of the natives of Australia, the pygmy groups of the Philippines and Malay peninsulas, the aborigines of Andaman Island and the Bushmen of Africa. All these tribal groups are closely related to natural condition, and they have this hunting and food gathering type of economic level. When geographical conditions are favorable, they make ends meet through fruits, roots, tubers, honey, herbs, hunting, fish, etc. But when difficult times come, they have to live with whatever they get. The number of groups leading this type of life is limited, which ranges from 40 to 70. The work of compilation is done collectively. That is, this is a community level system of economy. Children and women collect food items in the forest, while young people do the work of hunting and fishing. This is a type of division of labor. When the weather changes, they also have to change their place, and they search for such places where food can be easily available. It means nomadic system is there, wandering system is there from one place to another. In these, the goods produced individually are not consumed by the whole group, only the goods collected collectively are distributed equally. In this way, the basis of division of labor is sex difference and age difference. There are no experts in any work, no specialization is there and no division of labor is there. They lack personal property. Areas for hunting, fishing and food gathering are considered common property. This is what we call the primitive consumerism. In this group, class system is not found in the society of the wealth and property. There are very few hunting and gathering groups in the world who are able to save something for exchange after consumption. We see such an economy in societies ranging from the coastal Indians of northwestern California to Alaska. Their population is more than the first type of economy. Their residence is connected to business centers. The work of hunting and gathering is done by the whole group under the leadership of a chief. That's why he is entitled to a special share in the prey and the collected material. Here also the basis of division of labor is sex distinction and age distinction, but in some areas labor is also divided on the basis of specialization. Those who have special knowledge about the environment, they are termed as specialists. The areas of hunting and gathering are under the authority of chiefs and leaders. Such a system represents the primary level of class division on the basis of property. We can divide its second level into three parts: food gatherers, hunters and fishers. Although we sometimes get to see its mixed form, minimum labor and resources are required in the collection of food items. For example, the work is done with the help of hoe, basket, earthen pot, etc. People with this type of economy have full knowledge of weather and place, in which season, where to get which fruits. Not only this, but they also know the method of collecting food items and the method of cooking or making them edible in any other way. The hunter-gatherers had more weapons, tools and equipment than the gatherers. Arrows, bows, spears, noose, etc. are used for hunting. Hunting equipment varies from place to place. This is the part of culture. At same places, the work of hunting is done by a single person and at some places collectively. The condition of the fishermen is almost the same as that of the hunters. Fishing is also done by different groups in different ways. Fish are killed or caught even after being unconscious by arrows, bows, traps, nets and mild poison. These people also have sufficient knowledge of the places where fish can be found. Beals and Heuser have given four main features of this type of economic group. First is, these people often lead a nomadic life. These people are mostly members of each other's blood-related family, which is self-sufficient. The density of population is very less. And fourth is, since these people live in the forest, they have not been affected by the current cultures and have retained their original characteristics. On the basis of all these descriptions, now we clarify the characteristics of the hunter and gathering type of economic level. On the basis of the above description, we can explain the characteristics of the hunter or hunting and gathering society. These are as follows: small in size. Hunting and gathering society have very small but scattered groups. the environment in which they emerge cannot support a large concentration of people. Few people engage in this type of hunting and food gathering economic system. They live from day to day on whatever food they can find or catch. They live in a small primary group, and sometimes their members does not even exceed 40 to 50 members. Second important characteristics of this type of economy is lack of desire to acquire wealth. These people do not have a strong desire to acquire wealth for two main reasons. First of all, no one can earn money because there is no money to earn, and secondly, sharing is normal in society. Therefore, people who get enough food resources are expected to share it with the whole community. Sharing food serves as social insurance because it guarantees the person who shares their surplus today some food tomorrow with someone to share, especially when their collection is not good. That is exchange from one group to another. Family and kinship are the only defining institution. Hunting and gathering people are the only closely related social institutions that are somewhat well defined, namely family and kinship. This is a group of blood or marital kins. Family is everything in these people. Educating the young, economic production, protecting group members, and such functions which are usually looked after by specialized institutions in other established societies are performed by the family. Kinship is also important in the sense that most of these groups are based on kinship, with most of the members being related by descent, that is blood kins, and or marriage, that is known as marital kins. Entire societies are organized around kinship ties, which means that the idea of individual families existing as separate units within society is unknown. Absence of political institution, no political system is there. There is no difference between the ruler and the ruled in these institutions because political institutions are not found here. The positions in the society are essentially equal, and hence there is no difference between the leader and the followers. Most of the decisions are made through group discussions. War is unknown to these people, partly because they have virtually no possessions and therefore have little to fight for. Hence, political institution is totally absent in this tribal group. Limited or no division of labor, no specialization, no division of labor is there in tribal society. There is no scope for division of labor on the basis of age and gender in this society. Men and women, young and old, play different roles, but there is no specific occupational roles. There is a gender-based division of labor, but no gender inequality, as most people do the same job most of the time. Division of labor is only found on the basis of the male and female division. Male work hard, so they share common life experiences and values. The production is commonly and cooperative, and the distribution system is based on sharing. The constant need to face danger. Some hunters and gatherers constantly face the threat of extinction of their struggle against hostile environment. For example, among the Itibumet Eskimos, the fate of family rests in the hands of the father, who must find and catch game, build the house, and provide for the family. Hunting and gathering people to make their living in the natural settings required complex knowledge of plants, animals, environmental conditions, and seasonal changes in the environment. Similarly, the next characteristic is simple religious belief. Religion has not developed into a complex institution among these people. Their religion does not involve belief in a powerful God or deities active in human affairs. On the contrary, They consider the world to be inhabited by unseen spirits who should be heeded but not necessarily worshipped. It is clear from the description that although the hunting and gathering lifestyle may seem different to us, it has been the most common form of society throughout most of the history of our human species. Technical knowledge and level very low. Despite having favorable climate, abundance of vegetation and natural resources, due to limited resources and lack of knowledge, they can take limited advantage of them. They make their own production from hoes, pickaxes, arrows and bows, fishing net and nooses. They are able to meet even the minimum requirement of maintenance with great difficulties. Being engaged in food gathering daily or throughout the season, facing hardship most of the time and being in danger of hunger, etc., are the characteristics of primitive economy. Next is lack of system of currency and market. No system of currency is there, no market is there. These people do not have the system of currency and market like modern societies, nor do they have the facility of bank and credit, etc. Mostly their exchange is prevalent in the form of barter. That's why they lack traders, brokers, competition and monopoly, etc. Lack of market, lack of money is the basic characteristics of this tribal or aboriginal people, that is primitive people. So, what is the present position of the tribal society and what is the position of this type of economic level in the tribal society? So, present status of hunting and gathering tribes of India. The hunting gathering tribes of India have been heavily dependent on forest for their survival. The forest provided them with all the daily needs of food, shelters, tools, medicines, etc. As long as the tribals had control over the forest, they did not face any problems in meeting their needs. They can easily fulfill their basic needs. They enjoyed unrestricted access to forest produce, but at the same time they also recognized that they needed to protect it as it was the only source of everything they needed for survival. Hence, they develop a type of system, that is forest management in primitive society. However, since the last 2 centuries, the hunting and gathering tribes of India have had to give up their traditional lifestyle and subsistence pattern due to ecological changes, demographic changes, government policies, etc. In the post-independence period, various government policies have had a far-reaching impact on the forest dwellers. For example, in favor of the national interest, the National Forest Policy of 1952 deprived local communities of both management and benefits of forest produce. Similarly, the wildlife policies adopted by many national parks have restricted the entry of forest dwellers. An amendment to the Indian Wildlife Protection Act in 1991 banned the trapping of birds, affecting many pastoral communities that depended on trapping and shelling birds. Then the Delhi High Court order of May 1997, which made animal dissection optional in educational and research institutions, had a similar effects on many pastoral communities. Various government policies have resulted in many grazing sites being diverted for other purposes, leading to loss of forest resources as well as habitat. Demographic pressure is also one of the important cause, has pushed hunting gathering tribes into highly restricted area. The age of the forest where they lived for many centuries has been encroached upon by farmers. Areas formerly occupied by pastoral communities have been replaced by farmers who have brought farming and urbanization and displaced the original inhabitants. Deforestation and shrinking of forest areas are other reason for forest dwellers to give up their traditional method of hunting and gathering. In the post-independence period, several attempts were made by the government to resettle these hunter-gatherers tribes. When the government took over the island of Sri Harikota for the purpose of space research, it tried to resettle the Chala Yanadis on the mainland. However, this proved unsuccessful as most of the aborigines moved back to the island to live in an environment that was familiar to them. Similarly, in the Andamans, the government has tried to create permanent settlement for the great Andamanis and Ongs, providing them with drinking water, crèches, health care services, electricity and other facilities. These factors have led to dramatic changes in the subsistence pattern of foraging communities, leading them to adopt increasing sedentary lifestyle, often forcing them to work as wage laborers on plantation. For forest dwellers to give up their traditional method of hunting and gathering. These are the problems they are facing nowadays after post-independence period. On the whole, we can summarize that in order to maintain the physical existence, man has his three basic needs, which are called food, cloth and shelters. Without getting these, man's life will become difficult and his social life will also be in danger. The kind of efforts made by him during the fulfillment of these needs is known by the name of economy. Man produces and also consumes the things produced, but the work of production is not always done by a single person, rather it also requires the cooperation of other people. To meet his minimum needs, man has given birth to many economic activities in which hunting and food collecting is an important one. This is the problem nowadays the tribals are facing due to the urbanization, due to the globalization, due to the modernization, and they are forced to live their primitive type of economy, that is hunting and food gathering economic system.